have to admit I don't have much information on what happened. I think they mentioned a little bit of it on Bill Maher.
Well, it's this cop shot a guy in the back. He shot 8 times, hit him 5.
He unloaded. If I understand correctly, he unloaded the entire clip on this person.
I don't know what he was carrying, but most police issue pistols would carry more than 8 bullets, I would think. But he shot 8 times.
And this person is dead. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And there was basically some kind of a cover-up going on.
Yeah. Well, that's the see what happened was the guy, the cop shot the guy, and there was an investigation, and the cop was cleared, and then a video came out.
Okay.
The person who took the video with his cell phone videoed this entire incident, and the video came out, and the cop was charged with murder because the video showed this cop just straight up shooting this guy and then going over, handcuffing him. And then when his partner gets there, he pulls something. They suspect, some people said it was the taser that they had maybe been tussling over, or it was something else that he comes and throws it down next to the body like the body had a weapon.
Okay.
After the fact. And so basically, and his partner had to be in on that too. And so, now the cop has been charged with murder. He's been fired.
So it seems that this seems to be happening quite a bit nowadays. We're getting a lot more reports about excessive force, talking about, I don't know, I can't really, I'm not entitled to an opinion when it comes to something like what happened at Ferguson, because there are both sides to that.
Oh, there's more than one side to that. Well, there's a whole lot of shit going on in Ferguson, Missouri. It's an example of a number of things. And Ferguson, Missouri is a prime example of a number of ways that our society is just fucked. Mm-hmm. You have a perfect example right there. Police officers who are completely out of control with their SWAT team equipment going around, strutting around like peacocks, acting like fucking maniacs.
Yeah.
Then you have your ghetto black people who are also fucking completely out of control, attacking cops in their fucking cars.
So you were actually, this is unusual because you were in Missouri last week.
Yeah, I was.
Now, had you in your travel, did you see anything?
I try and stay away from St. Louis. It's a fucking shithole.
I think I know nothing of St. Louis except for the Arch and the Cardinals. And
you're a lucky man. Oh, there is a very cool place if you ever do go called the City Museum, which is fucking amazing.
Cool.
But go there and leave.
Like, go there.
Yeah, go to the City
spend
Museum,
an hour and
out.
Get the hell out of
there. So I've never been to Ferguson. I have no desire to go to Ferguson. Ferguson is a disgusting hellhole, and I don't want anything to do with it.
And then we have this incident recently, which occurs in your essentially your backyard. I don't know how far away you are from Charleston.
Charleston, so it's about three hours away from me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But you told me that the in South Carolina that the racial divide is not, it's not really about color or anything.
Well, the thing is, for the most part, we don't hate each other. Because
you have nobody going down there to fan the flames, as it were.
And you have just look at this guy at Walter Scott's mother telling Al Sharpton to stay the fuck home. Mm-hmm. Don't come down here. We don't want it. We don't want any of your crap down here. Leave us the hell alone. I'm going to bury my son in peace.
Right.
And she goes on TV and she says, yeah, I want to see justice done, but the man's been arrested. He's going to he's going to have a trial, and that's what more can I ask for? She said, frankly, I have love of God in my heart, and I forgive him already. Okay. She's a decent human being. She's not out here to cash in on anything or make something out of something that it's not.
Right.
And a lot of us, like, I mean, I was having this conversation with the guys working on my house, last on Friday when we were last working, and we all feel that could have been any one of us. We're all white guys, and that could have been any one of us in that situation.
So
we don't feel it's a color thing at all, and I think a lot of black people, the majority of them here, would say the same thing. Like that there's that could have been any one of us, and I don't believe it's a color thing. I believe it's a problem with the attitude of the police.
Right.
It's a problem that they think that they are superior. They think that their safety and comfort is more important than our lives and civil rights.
Yeah. So what do you think about this idea being advanced that cops should wear cameras?
I'm all for it. I think that they should wear cameras. I think that if that camera does not work, they should be docked their entire day's pay. If that camera does not work and there is an incident where the camera could have been used as evidence, they'd be fired and lose their pension.
I would normally agree with you on that, but the problem is we had a situation up here last year with in Staten Island with this man Eric Garner, who was chokeholded to death by cops simply for selling untaxed cigarettes. He got into a little bit of a beef, and they jumped him and they killed him. They basically killed him. He said he couldn't breathe.
That never should have happened either.
Somebody videotaped it. His death is on camera. These cops went before a grand jury and were let off, even with this video.
I know.
That's to put it mildly, it's really fucked up.
It is. It really is. Now, it remains to be seen. We have a number of problems here. This isn't a utopia down here in South Carolina. We have a lot of corrupt judges and corrupt politicians and shitty people in positions of power that could cause this. But there's a lot of us who are hoping that this cop gets the death penalty for this.
Right.
He killed that man in cold blood, and he deserves it. He should be made an example of to all the other cops who think they can get away with this crap.
Right. I have a bit of a story involving myself. When I was living on the Upper East Side, there was a purse snatcher basically in the neighborhood where I lived. He had my height, my build. He was white with black hair. I was walking down the street, and out of nowhere, on the corner of 88th and York, I was assaulted by 4 or 5 plainclothes cops. They grabbed me. They smashed my head up against the bricks. I had a nice gash as a result of it. I was bleeding. They had somebody who was, I guess, going to pick me out of a lineup or something like that. They had the person with them, and they said, "Is this a guy?" And she said, "No." So they let me go. They had me on. First, they smashed me up against the wall, and then they put me down on the floor, on the ground. And it was like January. It was cold, and I was like all scarred up after that. And so they let me up, and they said, "You're not the guy," and let me go. I don't even think they apologized for that.
Yeah, who lets them go? I mean, why don't they pay a price for that kind of behavior? And, they'll tell you, they have to be safe, and they have to, they have a hard job where they go through a lot of things, and like you know what? They sign up for this job.
Yes,
they
exactly.
take the job.
Nobody put a gun to their head and told them to be cops. Right. They wanted to do it.
If they don't want to take on that responsibility, then don't. I really have very little sympathy for that.
That situation illustrates
hard work.
That was in 1991, I believe, and that one incident illustrates that it is an us versus them mentality. It is cops versus people, not necessarily cops versus people of color. I happened to fit the profile of a purse snatcher, so they grabbed me for that reason. They don't go.
And if the profile is a black guy, then you don't want to be a black guy walking along the block. And it's really now, I mean, I agree with profiling to a certain extent. I mean,
what did you think of
the black guy, the black guy with his gold teeth and his fucking Escalade? What the fuck is he doing? And probably he's preying on other black people who are just trying to go to work and fucking be
that is actually true.
Citizens.
Yes.
And so hassle that motherfucker.
So proportionately, more crimes are committed by black people. Therefore, they are possibly disproportionately targeted by cops because they are black or something.
That's something that doesn't get brought up, but it's true.
I was going to ask you what you thought. I mean, officially it's not in practice anymore. But what did you think of the stop and frisk policy that we had up here in New York City?
An absolute abomination. Yeah, no, it should never. This is the United States of America, and that's unconstitutional to just stop people at random and search them. That was one of the reasons why the country was founded in the first place, was to stop shit like that. And I don't care how quote unquote safe it makes you; it's wrong.
Well,
that doesn't mean that I agree with that commie bastard who's the mayor of New York City. I guess.
Don't get me started on De Blasio, please.
Oh God. But but on that one issue, he's I do not agree with that. It is not acceptable.
Well, he has a black wife and black children, so
yeah,
doesn't look good.
Black
for him.
lesbian wife, for Christ's sake.
I don't understand. I don't understand that either. I don't know how that works.
More boxes on the liberal list. I mean, fuck, is she a Muslim too?
But there is a disturbing bit of evidence that stop and frisk may have been effective because crime rose substantially after it was allegedly.
I don't doubt that it's effective, but it's still wrong. I mean, it's effective probably to stop everybody on the street and make sure that they don't have anything illegal. You would stop all crime if you put a cop in everybody's house. All there 24/7, you would stop all crime in everybody's houses. It would be effective, but it's still the wrong thing to do.
Right.
And the problem is we get caught up in this effectiveness. Another pet peeve of mine is something that's very unpopular with the widows and orphans out there, and that is drunk driving laws.
Okay.
And how they pull people over based on nothing. And they set up checkpoints, which should be illegal, but they've been approved by the Supreme Court for some crazy reason because the reasoning is it's effective. But it doesn't really do anything. Our laws are not structured in a way to actually stop impaired drivers from driving. The cops are not doing their job. They're setting up a checkpoint. They're not out there looking for people who are driving badly and pulling them over. And it doesn't make a difference if you're driving badly because you're too old to be driving or you're driving badly because you're fucking high and drunk. It doesn't matter. You're still just as equally a danger to everybody around you.
Yes.
And pulling people over at random to catch grandpa because he had an extra glass of wine when he's probably perfectly capable of driving home is fucking ridiculous. And then all it is a money grab for the state.
Well, some people get, completely wasted on one martini, and somebody else needs 10.
That's my reasoning for why this should be based on on level of impairment and not an arbitrary blood level.
Right.
You should be able to. They should give you a test. And if you're sober and you're too old to pass that test, well, then, you shouldn't be on the road either. And that's why we don't have these tests, because it wouldn't be fair. But seriously, me, I'm fine to have 6 beers and drive. I'm a big guy. I've tested my blood alcohol level. I know what, and also I know that I don't do that.
Right.
I just don't.
Well, that's common sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But I know that I know that I'm good. I can. It's not that I never did back in the past, but
Did you ever have any run-ins with the cops in any way that were?
No.
You kept your nose clean.
I did. I never got caught. The only run-ins I've had with cops are speeding infractions and typical nonsense like that.
You drive too fast, damn it.
I have a radar detector, and I'm pretty good at spotting them before they spot me. So I drive as fast as I want to drive. Fuck them.
Oh, you're shifty. Oh, my goodness. You check your blood alcohol level? You've got a radar detector? Oh.
Yeah, man. I like information. Yeah, I do have a radar detector. They almost popped me today doing 70 in a 45. Almost.
Oh.
Almost.
But I've noticed, like, if you drive on the LIE, the Long Island Expressway, you have to drive 70 just to keep up because everyone's driving over 70. I've noticed this, and a cop cannot simply pull over like 200 people on the road.
No, they just sort of pick them at random, but, I find,
let's get this dick in the Mercedes. Yeah.
Well, I got the radar detector, and I find out, where, when they're coming up, and I just slow myself down, and everybody around me gets upset, blah, 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 because I'm slowing down.
Yeah.
But, hey, man, it's the way it is.
But you're saving their asses, too.
Yeah. And one of them gets too mad and goes around me and speeds up more, then they'll get popped, and fuck them. Okay, But, no, I've had a radar detector for years, because... back in New York, you really needed one. Here, you need one less. Here, it enables me to really, I can really drive fast. Like seriously, there's one road on the way to Woodruff where I hit 100 miles an hour like pretty regularly, and it's like because you can. There's room there. You can see crazy far ahead. It's a straight line. There's no reason not to go fucking fast. There's really, the only thing that could possibly happen is a deer might run out. But
okay. Hang on a second. My cat's about to throw up.
Oh dear, cat puke, cat barf.
You know what she did?
What?
She ate a piece of plastic. She does that, and then she throws it up and wonders why she's throwing up.
Oh, of course they do. Just like when they eat the plants.
Yeah.
Cats eat the plants and then throw it up, and then they go back and eat more fucking plants. Dumbasses.
I'm sorry I had to cut that thought short, but I'm just sort of waiting for her to puke it up because she's got this look on her face like, perhaps I didn't eat food. All right, now you're not... It's not spit. Hang on a second.
Yeah, sure. You micromanage the cat per puking is a good thing.
Crying out loud. You think she would stop doing that?
You would think.
So, I guess just to wrap this up, I mean, is there...
Yeah.
Do you really... do you see any kind of like a hopeful resolution? I mean, a hopeful something in the future, or are we making that slow march toward a military state?
We're making the slow march, and there's really no stopping it at this point. Like, there's too many people who won't admit that it's a problem until it's too fucking late. And you just gotta kind of hunker down. And the way I deal with this stuff is just kind of stay away from these people as much as I can. And, stay out of trouble and, teach your kids to, put your hands on the steering wheel and say yes, sir, no, sir. And don't ever say yes to a search, no matter what. Am I being detained? And no, then am I free to go? And, don't ever consent to anything. And if anybody forces you to consent, then I say, just tell them you want a lawyer. You want a lawyer right now. Like,
yeah.
And no matter how long that makes you, no matter how late that makes you for where you got to go, do that. Don't let them, but always be respectful and don't run away because they'll shoot you in the fucking back.
Okay, that is the issue there. Being respectful. We're dealing with, angry young black men, and they run, and running always makes you look guilty, and then you get shot in the back. So in a way, you contribute to your own demise if you do things like that. I totally agree. I say, be respectful. Cooperate.
Yeah, the time to get your case looked at by somebody is not right then. Yeah. Like, you got a guy with a gun, like right there, like get out of that situation and then make trouble.
Yeah.
Make trouble afterwards. Don't make it then. You got to be smart about these things.
Absolutely.
And that would be my advice to anybody. And I know that's the thing about Ferguson, Missouri. We should have done a whole show about Ferguson. Because it's just such a prime example of everything going awry, as I was saying before. And then you have the media blowing everything out of proportion and outright lying about everything that's gone on.
Yeah.
The stop, don't shoot. None of that fucking happened.
Yeah.
And you have one side, primarily, I guess, the way they try and make it look is the white people are saying, well, this guy attacked a cop and fuck him.
Yeah.
And then you have the black people saying, well, they're killing black people, right? And when the reality, like the truth is that one of the little known facts is that Ferguson, Missouri. Do you know that 60% of their income in Ferguson, Missouri, is fines for minor infractions?
For minor,
Did you know that more than half of the people who live in Ferguson, Missouri, have a bench warrant for their arrest?
Oh, Ferguson is a small town, right?
Yeah, and that's indicative, though. It's like if you want to explain why
they have a quota,
Michael
right?
Brown. Yeah, well, you want to explain why Michael Brown hated the cops so much? Talk about fucking hassling. You get more than half the people who live in the town have bench warrants.
Mm-hmm.
They're arresting all these people. He's telling them don't walk in the street. And this guy, his response was not acceptable, but I can understand why he was so upset with the police.
Well, it was a combination of the two that creates a nice storm there. It
was a collision. And
he was a thug.
He definitely was a thug. He was headed nowhere fast.
This is a scared cop with a gun. Scared cop with a gun is a frightening creature. And what you said before, I believe that these small towns, basically their treasuries and their governments exist on the back of citations and warrants, and they have a quota that they have to fill, so they're going to figure out any way to fill it.
Yeah,
that's what it seems to me. It escalates in that way.
Oh, man, I was just looking for this article. I'm upset, man. This fucking pisses me off. I got to save these things more. This blogger wrote this most fucking awesome article all about Ferguson. It's called Ferguson When Assholes Collide. And it's dealing...
Sounds great. I like the title.
It's like four groups of assholes that collide to make this colossal clusterfuck in Missouri. And it's a brilliant article that calls out everybody on all sides. It calls out the race industry, calls out fucking ghetto black people, calls out the police with their fucking riot gear and all this crap, calls out the media, everybody. In no uncertain terms, and I'm so sorry. I just clicked on the link and in my bookmarks, and this guy shut his fucking blog down, and now it's not there. I'm gonna email him and ask him if I can have a copy of that article.
Wait, there's
Let me see if there's a Google.
There's a few links here.
Yeah,
I have. Well, let me check this one. liberalsandlatte.blogspot.com. A frank dissertation on Ferguson when assholes collide.
Yeah.
First group of assholes, the media.
Mm-hmm.
Next group of assholes, Officer Safety and his merry band of stormtroopers.
Yep.
Next group of assholes, ghetto black Americans, their enablers, and non-blacks who act like ghetto black Americans. Next group of assholes, big government progressives from all spectra.
Yeah. Yeah, he calls it out, man. He calls it out. It is brilliant. We gotta see if I can find a cached copy of this shit. It looks like he pulled his website in January, and this is written back in...
It was written in August of 2014.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there is this link. We can put this link in the show notes.
I'm not finding the actual article, though. Where did you find it?
I found it at liberalsandlatte.blogspot.com, but all I just typed in Google when assholes collide. So
okay, I put in Ferguson when assholes collide.
It's been reblogged and shared a few times by different places.
Good. Yep, there it is. Yeah, but he did. They excerpted it though. They didn't put the whole thing because his article's long. Let me see if there's somebody who kept it. Let's see if this is cached. Nope. There's no cache link. I hate the way Google fucking redesigned their shit. They suck.
Wait, what is this one?
Like, why couldn't they just keep the cached link? Those fucking cocksuckers. Anyway, moving on.
The gentleman's name who wrote this is Ivy Mike.
Ivy Mike. Yeah, I never heard of him before, and I've been back to the site a couple of times to see what he's writing about because he did such an awesome job on that particular thing. I had never heard of the guy ever, and I don't know, somebody linked to it on Facebook or something, and it was just brilliant, fucking brilliant. Somebody put it on Free Republic, I think. I was just I was shocked.
It's not on his site. It's not there. That's
it
unusual.
looks like he's got an article up there saying that that he's taking the site down. So he just took everything down. I'll see if I can email him and see if we can get a copy of that piece.
Okay.
It was fucking awesome. He might have taken it down for just the heat that he got for it. And I can't imagine. He should have been prepared for that when he wrote it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's this is a distinctively libertarian approach to blame both sides or all sides. Mm-hmm. In the situation, you can't really, the way things are now, you can't really just blame one party. You can't blame one entity.
It's you can't say that everything is Obama's fault. I mean, everything has been built. You want to blame one guy for everything? Go back to Woodrow Wilson. He's the one who fucking caused everything that's fucked up now.
And he's conveniently dead.
Yeah,
or so he says.
There's nothing we can do. What we could do is go back. Yeah, so I. Or is he?
Oh no. I have irrefutable proof that Woodrow Wilson not only destroyed our economy, but he founded Scientology.
Anyway. Oh, that bastard scumbag! Yeah, no, you know what? Fucking damn near everything. There wouldn't have been a Scientology because there wouldn't have been, if it wasn't for Woodrow Wilson, none of the Scientology stuff ever would have happened because there wouldn't have been an income tax.
There you go.
There wouldn't have been a tax exempt status for them to achieve. And there wouldn't, and none of it ever would have occurred that way.
It wouldn't have even mattered.
There would have never been any lobbyists. You realize there were never any lobbyists before we had the progressive income tax. Everything came out of Woodrow Wilson. Everything bad.
Yes. The man is the devil. Amazing. The man is an animal.
He is the guy. He's an animal. He's got people. The man is an animal.
Ripping out phones, urinating on desks. If I could spend 2 months in a rice paddy, I could deal with this. Anyway, that is BlissVille. I want to thank Andrew, and I'm Dave, and exercise caution and common sense in the world, and you will prosper. Like the rabbits. Your people will never be destroyed.